What really happened? A meticulously prepared, splendid wedding in the middle of nature, but without a single relative to witness. No parents, no friends, no blessings. Jack and Tien held their wedding ceremony in silence, in a space that was eerily quiet. Why did they choose that? Was there a conspiracy behind it, or were they running away from something? All will be revealed right after this. Please follow the story. The gentle morning sunlight filtered through the window, shining on Jack's face, who had just woken up after a long day of lying unconscious. He blinked a few times, then turned his head to the side, where Tien was gently carrying a tray of breakfast. On the tray was a bowl of steaming porridge, a few pieces of pre-cut fruit, and a glass of warm water. She walked over, sat down next to the bed, her eyes gentle and worried. "How are you feeling today?" Jack smiled. His voice was still soft but full of warmth. "I'm fine today. I'm even hungry." Tien smiled lightly, scooped up a spoonful of porridge, blew on it to cool it, and fed it to him. Then she took the fruit and gave it to him. Jack chewed and looked up at her, his eyes sparkling with affection. "You should go for a checkup today, so that Mom and I can rest assured." He pretended to raise his eyebrows. "But looking at you like this, if you're not well, what are you?" Tien glared lovingly, but before she could say anything, Jack laughed. "I'm just kidding. I'll go for a proper checkup. And you're due for your regular checkup, right? Let's go together." She nodded, cleared the tray, and the two of them got ready together. Before leaving the door, Tien suddenly stopped, gently touched Jack's forehead, carefully checking to see if he still had a fever. He gently held her hand, his eyes filled with affection. Then they both got into the car, and headed straight to the city hospital, starting a new day full of hope and love. Jack and Tien arrived at the hospital while it was still early. The waiting room was bustling with the sound of calling numbers, footsteps, and small conversations between patients and their families. The two quickly went to the reception desk, took their number, and sat down on the long benches against the wall. Jack glanced at the electronic number board for a moment, then turned to Tien and said, "You sit here and wait. When it's your turn, come in for an examination. My clinic is in the general internal medicine area on the other side. It should be quick." Tien nodded, but did not forget to remind. "Remember to ask the doctor carefully. Do another test if necessary. When you're done, come back here and find me." Jack smiled softly, nodded, and walked quickly toward the hallway leading to another area. Tien watched his figure disappear, a slight feeling of worry rising in her heart, even though she knew he was better. After what she had been through, she still could not be completely at ease. About half an hour later, when Jack returned, he had changed into a neat shirt, holding a piece of paper in his hand indicating that he was waiting for the results. He saw Tien, who had just finished the examination, walking out of the next room with a gentle face. The two of them saw each other from afar. Smiling, Jack approached, gently touching her shoulder. "Is everything done? Now we just have to wait for the results." The two of them sat down on a long chair in the hallway, next to a large glass window. The early morning sunlight shone through the glass, golden on their shoulders, a peaceful moment in the hustle and bustle of life, where the two of them waited together for the good things ahead. The test results were called. Jack stood up, took the paper, and returned to where Tien was waiting. He sat down next to her, holding the results up in front of her with a bright smile. "Good news, you are completely healthy. There are no more signs of abnormalities." Tien breathed a sigh of relief, her eyes sparkling with joy. "Really? So there is no need to take medicine or monitor anything anymore?" "Yes, the doctor said your body is recovering very well. You just need to rest well." She nodded, a slight smile on her lips. But that joy had just bloomed when anxiety crept into her eyes. When the nurse called her name to go into the doctor's room to hear the results, Jack stood up with her, and the two of them walked into the examination room in silence. The doctor looked up after looking through the records, and smiled gently. "The ultrasound results show that your body is responding very well to the medicine. The ovarian cyst has clearly shrunk compared to the last time." Tien was still not reassured, her voice worried. "So, can I have a baby in the future?" The doctor nodded, then handed her a prescription. "You should continue taking the medicine according to this prescription, regularly for the next 5 months. If the indicators return to normal after that, the possibility of getting pregnant naturally is completely possible." Hearing that, Tu Tien's eyes were slightly filled with tears. Her eyes were quiet. Her hand trembled slightly, but was suddenly held tightly by a warm hand. Jack sat next to her, looked straight into her eyes, and gently said, "I know you can do it. Let's try together, okay?" Tu Tien nodded, smiling slightly through her sparkling tears. After thanking the doctor, the two of them walked out of the clinic together. The noon sun shone through the glass roof. Jack gently put his arm around Tu Tien's shoulder, leading her to the car. Both of their hearts felt light, as if they had just removed a heavy rock they had been carrying for a long time. A new journey begins. This time, they go not only for each other, but also for the hope of a little life in the future. Sitting in the car, when the city was still crowded and bustling, Tu Tien turned to look at Jack, her eyes shining with a rare gentleness. "I want to invite you to have coffee, okay? It's been a long time since we sat down and talked properly." Jack glanced at her for a moment, smiled softly. "Okay, I agree. Since we're going to the city anyway, I'll take you to buy some clothes. Lately, I've seen you wearing old clothes all the time." Tu Tien hadn't had time to object when Jack turned into a clothing store on the side of the road. The two of them walked in together. The cool air conditioning immediately soothed the heat outside. Jack glanced around and walked to the sun protection clothing rack. He chose 2 shirts of different colors, then tried each one on her, meticulously, as if he were choosing an important gift. "This one fits. That one is also beautiful. Can I have both?" Tu Tien shook her head slightly, smiled lightly. "One is fine. I don't need many." Jack shook his head firmly. "Okay, I'll buy both. I'll change when I get home, so you won't complain if I choose too few." Saying that, he brought the 2 shirts to the counter to pay. While waiting, Tu Tien happened to see the shoe counter on the opposite side. A thought flashed through her mind. She walked over, gently pulling Jack's hand. "Come over here with me for a bit." Jack smiled brightly, joking softly. "Oh, let's see what Tu Tien wants to give you." What a surprise. After a while of looking around, she chose a pair of neutral-colored sneakers, the type Jack often wore. He tried them on. They fit surprisingly well. "It's fate, don't you see?" Jack teased, making Tu Tien blush slightly. After paying, they both carried their bags, held hands and walked out to the car, smiles never leaving their lips. The car rolled away from the store, heading straight to a small cafe hidden in a quiet alley, where they were about to share peaceful moments after many stormy days. Jack and Tu Tien walked into the cafe together, which had a rustic yet sophisticated garden style. The space was filled with the green of trees and leaves, and wooden tables and chairs were arranged under the shade of trees. The light aroma of roasted coffee mixed with the melodious music made all worries seem to be dispelled. The two chose a small table in the corner of the yard, where they could look out at the small fish pond shimmering in the sunlight. Jack looked around and asked softly, his voice as light as the wind, "Have you ever thought that you would run a cafe like this?" Tu Tien smiled lightly, shaking her head. "I think it must be very difficult. I can't do it. Now I just go harvest and sell it at the market. I'm so happy." Jack looked at her intently, his eyes filled with affection and admiration. "You're really good, compared to the first time I met you. You've changed a lot, stronger, more confident." Tu Tien was silent for a moment. Her eyes filled with tears, but a smile still appeared on her lips. She gently said, "Thank you for appearing in my life. Thanks to you, I know what true love is, and for the first time I feel the feeling of being loved and cherished by someone." Jack gently held her hand on the table. No more words needed, just a look full of love and understanding. They sat there for a long time, talking about small things, about the garden, about quiet but warm dreams. When the sun began to set, the two stood up to leave. Walking out of the shop, Jack still held Tu Tien's hand tightly, as if not wanting to let go. A peaceful afternoon passed, leaving in their hearts gentle echoes, like a beautiful song of companionship and love. That night, in a sweet but mysterious dream, Jack found himself standing in the middle of a splendid wedding ceremony. The space was filled with soft yellow light, white flowers filled the dome, and the melodious melody of the wedding music played slowly, like a slow-motion film. Tu Tien wore a pure white wedding dress, her face radiant with happiness, walking towards him with gentle, warm eyes. The two held hands, exchanged rings and made lifelong promises under a dome of flowers. She smiled, her eyes sparkling with tears. and Jack felt his heart tighten with happiness. But then, when he turned his head to look around, he was stunned to realize no one was attending their wedding. Not a single relative, no cheers, no applause. The rows of seats on both sides were empty. There was no one from his mother, no friends, and no one from Tien's side. A silent and overwhelming void surrounded them. Even so, Tien still smiled, a pure smile as if she didn't care about it. After the wedding, the scene gradually changed. The two were playing by the river, where there was only wind, trees, and echoing laughter. Jack ran after her on the grass, splashing water, teasing, like two children no longer attached to the world. But something still lingered in his heart. A big question echoed in his mind. Why was no one present at their wedding? The dream gradually faded into a hazy mist. Jack vaguely felt the loneliness creeping under that layer of happiness, as if there was something that had not been resolved. He turned slightly in his sleep, his brows slightly furrowed, and in his heart was a nameless sob.